Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host, Jason.
And Shawn.
And we are back with another round 5. This week, we're doing our top 5 missed musical groups or musical acts, I would say. It's kind of hard to break it down. And by missed, I mean who we
Artists.
wish would come back.
Yeah.
So,
Missed musical artists.
yeah, man. So this is something that, Sean thought I maybe brought it up because there was I guess a duo group that split up or something the past 2 weeks. I don't remember who it was. I didn't know who it was. But you were like, is this because of that? And I was like, nah, actually, it's because of my number 4 in this list that I have in my round 5 list. That's the reason why I suggested this round 5. So let's go ahead and dive into it, man. What's your number 5, Sean?
Okay, so the duo that broke up was Daft Punk.
Okay.
So I would have thought you would have been a little more familiar with them, being a fan of The Matrix, but I guess not.
I didn't know.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Anyway, yeah. So Daft Punk has split ways. They didn't make my list. I mean, I do like Daft Punk, but not enough that I'm saying, oh, I miss them. They've just broken up, so I haven't had time to miss them, I guess. So all of my top 5 are bands or musicians, artists that it's all Christian. So you may or may not have heard of some of these groups. My number 5 is Live Fish. So Live Fish was probably the quintessential youth group band. They took a lot of the songs that you would have sung if you grew up in church, Father Abraham, stuff like that, and took those songs that you sung as a little kid and up the ante on them. So turned them into sort of current praise and worship rock kind of songs. It was just a lot of fun because, of course, you knew the words, but how they rearranged it a little bit and the feeling of it, it was always a good time to watch them live. No pun intended for Live Fish. Was the best thing, of course. They were always a lot of fun whenever they performed on stage. They haven't officially broke up, but they haven't done anything in quite some time. So I'm going to put them in that category of I miss Live Fish.
Gotcha. All right, man. So my number 5 is actually a band I mentioned earlier today, Flyleaf. So, and this is the early Flyleaf with Lacey Sturm, not the current Flyleaf that kind of still together in existence. I'm just a fan of her voice. Something about it. She's got a worship album as well. Her and her husband did, and so she just from the very first I'm So Sick. I didn't realize they were a Christian band until later on. I just happened to be in our local Christian, bookstore, whatever you want to call it, music store, and I saw that it was on the rock album charts, number 1 on there, and I was like, wait, Flyleaf's a Christian band? And so I bought the album, listened to the album, and I was like, oh, now I kind of understand why it's a Christian band. I can feel the, especially all around me. Like, that's that was a radio hit. And so that was really cool to see a Christian band being on the radio like that, where especially the front woman is very open with her faith. And so I was a real big fan of that. And though she has her new single, State of Me, I still miss that initial Flyleaf. So yeah, that's my number 5. Your number 4, sir.
So my number 4, technically this artist is still doing music, but not under this name, and so the music totally is different as well. So I feel like it still kind of fits this category. Pro.
Who is
you
Pro?
May know huh?
Who is Pro? People don't know who Pro is.
Pro. Pro is pro.
Like professional?
Yeah, he was very
Yeah.
professional.
Oh, that looks kind of like that Derek Minor guy.
It is very
Yeah.
much Derek Minor. So he, you know, there was this. It seemed like there was this phase in Christian hip hop where everybody was going by like some sort of stage name, and then they were rebelling against doing stage names.
Yeah.
Mr. Andy something or other did something like that too, and it's whatever. But pro when Derek was pro, um, um, they were just super hard hitting tracks. They were they were a lot more sort of gangsta. It just, I don't know. It felt a lot more fun. In fact, even today, when summer really reaches us and the windows are down and it's nice and warm outside and that breeze is coming in through the car window, that's when I put on Pro and I crank it all the way up, and I go. It's just there's just nothing like it.
You got
So
to show us your moves that you do whenever he's playing.
I don't do moves.
You don't do moves? Okay.
I don't
Okay.
no I don't have.
I agree, man. The the 116 anthem is a classic. Some of his other ones, from the Redemption album, the Fight Music, the AU Hold Me Down. Like, he had so many great. Then the Dying to Live album is still my favorite album from Pro / Derek Minor. That album
Yeah.
to me is just a classic. I don't know if he's going to have anything that beats that for me personally. I agree. I miss Pro. When he went to Derek Minor, it did change, and I understand like he was making more music that he felt was more true to himself rather than just for a market base. So I can respect that. I can respect that.
Yeah. I respect it. I just don't like it as much. But
And it's not that you don't like the reason why he changed it. You just don't prefer that music. Is that right?
right, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Just want to make sure that was clear for anybody listening to this because he's had issues lately with his white ex fan base. So wanted to make sure that wasn't a
Oh,
situation. So
yeah. Sorry. No, I didn't even know that. I mean, yeah. I mean, merch, fight music. It's
yeah,
Redemption's probably my favorite Christian hip hop album of all time.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. So my number three is beautiful. No, sorry, no. Ooh, oops, my bad. Dream Junkies. Dream Junkies. Just a
Oops.
great collective of with Ruslan, Belief, Johnny Unitas, no, Johnny Law, no, John Gives. He just to me, that collection of artists was great. Their Good Religion album is top five Christian hip hop albums of all time for me. Just the cohesion that they had with which honestly a lot of people really loved the way that John Gives brought in the melody in this album. He was always the person doing the background vocals and all of that. Plus, he was a dope rapper. Belief, he just had like to me cutting. I don't know how to explain it, but his voice cuts in a way that's I don't know if that makes sense or not for anybody. And then Ruslan, he does his thing. He's a dope artist as well. Plus, he's a phenomenal engineer. I don't know if he engineered this album. I feel like he probably did. But overall, Dream Junkies, I miss you all, and I really wish you would come back. And they probably did the best cover or the best Oceans like song using the CCM Oceans track. They did the best version of that. So that's my number four. I think I said
Number
number
four.
three. Sean, you're number
Yep.
three.
Number three. Again, in part, David Crowder band. So yeah, David Crowder still doing music. Crowder, under the title of just Crowder. But when they were David Crowder band, I don't know. I liked more of the music. I still appreciate David Crowder. He still has some really good tracks. I'm not as much of a fan. I feel like that their older stuff was better. Um, and I say their older stuff, his older stuff when he was with David Crowder Band. And maybe that's partially nostalgic. The first time I ever saw him was at an outdoor music festival, and it was during their Illuminate album. So that was their first breakout album, really. They had other stuff before that, but that was their real breakout. And one of my favorite moments was when they played Open Skies. It literally is dusk, and they're playing Open Skies at an outdoor music festival. It was freaking amazing. Um, but it's still, I don't know. Whenever I put on anything David Crowder, in fact, my worship playlist has more David Crowder band than Crowder on it. So
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I really enjoy their song "Deliver Me." They used to play that a lot at my previous church during, I think it was like the invitation time, but that was one of my favorite songs. So my number three, I briefly almost mentioned them earlier. Beautiful Eulogy. So the owner of Humble Beast, Thomas Terry, known as Odd Thomas, and Braille, and then their producer, I can't even remember his name, but they formed kind of a collective called Beautiful Eulogy. They only released three projects, um, which, I wish they released more, but they have more of a folk hip hop. Does that sound about right, Sean? I think you used to call them more folk sounding in a way.
yeah, ish, yeah.
But their music was free. Everything from Humble Beast is free, and they just I like Odd Thomas. He's very the way it's going to sound weird. His enunciation makes him stand out. I mean, not just his rhyme schemes, but his enunciation is fantastic. Braille, he did a lot of solo rap. He's a phenomenal rapper, and like their music for me has the greatest sense of worship. It has the greatest essence of worship in hip hop for me personally. I could put their music on and just really kind of be in prayer mode the whole time, and I feel like their songs are prayers that I can just rap along with and have that communion fellowship with God in that moment. And I don't think they're doing any more music. They had satellite kite instruments. I can't remember. Let me look it up real quick. BAU, Beautiful Eulogy, Instruments of Mercy, Satellite Kite, and Worthy are the three projects they had. Again, you can buy it all, or you could get it all free at humblebeast.com, along with Propaganda, Jackie Hill Perry, all that stuff. So yeah, man, that's my number three, Beautiful Eulogy.
All right. Number two, um, Third Day. This is
I thought they were around still.
they have just done their farewell. This is it.
Oh,
Yeah. Which is sad because they've been a band doing music since about 1998. One of my favorite tracks was Agnes Day. To me, it was one of my first worship songs, and I just really connected with it. This was early on for me, coming back to Christ, and it was the first Third Day track that I really just connected on. But Come Together, God of Wonders. I mean, the number of hits that they have, Cry Out to Jesus, there's just multiples. Um, you may not have liked all of their sort of a country rock kind of feel. I would still consider them largely just rock. Um, but it's if you were a fan of Christian music at all, you probably listened to Third Day at some point in time. The number of times that I've seen Third Day in concert, I couldn't even begin to tell you, because if you went to a music festival, chances are Third Day was playing at some point in time. It's like Casting Crowns.
yeah, yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I've seen Casting Crowns. I was flipping through some photographs the other day, and pictures that I've taken from several different music festivals, and it's like, oh, there's and there's yep, and it's it's all the same folks.
With
So,
Skillet?
uh, huh?
With Skillet?
Yeah, well, yeah. Skillet didn't do as many music festivals,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, I've definitely seen Skillet a lot too, and not bragging because I'm not that huge of a fan, obviously. But anyway,
Gotcha.
third day, um, I understand at some point in time these guys, they're probably just mellowing out and they're like, you know what, we're good with just doing music in our church kind of thing or local venues or something like that. Doing this whole thing as a band, trying to make this all happen, time after time. It's just run its course, and I get that. But honestly, I would love for them to have continued. I would love for them to come back and keep going again. When you think about like some secular bands that have been around for a long time, the Rolling Stones, I'd love for that to be like Third Day.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
you say Third Day, and generations of Christians know. Oh yeah, I know Third Day,
Metallica.
but yeah,
My number two is Gideon's Army. Another top five album for me is Mainstream. It's 19 tracks, solid tracks. The three artists on this, again, great cohesion with them. And by the way, all of mine are all groups. That was initially what I had in mind whenever we did this, so I put all groups down. And then the only one that didn't really not group is Pro, but no worries there. But Monologue still makes music. He still is a solo artist, so you can still listen to his stuff. Malachi, the spitter and slash singer of the album, he doesn't really do music that I know of anymore. Last I heard, he was locked up for something, and he left the group not wanting to do Christian music. And then I can't remember the other guy's name, but I know he's got an album by himself. But either way, I tell people all the time, Gideon's Army was probably the most underrated hip hop group. Period. They were so great. The production was phenomenal. Everything they did was great. Music videos, all of it. They did a lot of stuff with T Hattie. Um, so I don't know, man. It's kind of really hard to explain. All I know, if you haven't heard their mainstream album, I think it might still be available. I'm very happy that I purchased it because otherwise I don't know if it's still available. But that's just another side note, everybody. If you really love an album of any sorts, buy it because distribution can be taken down as fast as it can be put up. So
oh yeah.
yeah, my number two, Gideon's Army, mainstream. Sean, how
So I
about you,
guess
sir?
we're left with number one now.
Yeah, that's it, man. Number one.
All right. So I I I, th- I don't even know where to begin with this one. Um, so this band, I saw them, I think, out on a side stage again at some multi band sort of music festival kind of thing. Um, and I was just drawn in. The lead singer just his vocals, his sound just super gritty, grungy, and just made a connection. And when he sang, it's just his facial expressions, you felt his music. Lead singer Josh Brown of Day of Fire. Now, you might have known Josh Brown back in the day when he was fronting for Full Devil Jacket. That was his secular band. Before he had an overdose of, I think it was heroin, and in recovery became a Christian. Quite a talented tattoo artist as well, by the way. Man, they only put out 3 albums, but their albums were so good. Um, you had the self-titled Day of Fire, you had Cut and Move. Losing All was good, but it wasn't as good to me as Cut and Move and their self-titled. I mean, they had Detainer, Cornerstone. These are all just like super awesome tracks. course, Cut and Move, which was the title track off of Cut and Move. Just super awesome stuff. Um, Pictures that I have of them playing. Um, what was it? It was Atlanta Fest, and they were on a side stage. It was late at night. It was hot as snot. I mean, you're just standing there and sweat's just dripping from your face, right? And these guys, they get up on stage anyway, and they're playing their hearts out. Sweat's just pouring off of them. I was able to get right up next to the stage. I got pictures of his hand with tattoos and all, and then his set list that was all smeared because of sweat, and he's just growling out his lyrics and stuff, man. It's just his passion was awesome. Had lots of opportunities to be able to talk to Josh, from just going to shows early and hanging out afterwards as well. He was always super good about all that stuff. Now, my understanding is that they've got another band that they've kind of been working on, but they don't have anything put together fully yet. So I'm not really going to talk about that. It'll show up in the news later if it actually comes around. But Nashville, Tennessee, I think he's still doing tats, so maybe look him up if you want a really cool tat. But Dave Fire, man, if you're a rock fan, just solid rock, yeah, check it out. They stay constantly on my playlist. So.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. So my number one is w.l.a.k. Some people call w.l.a.k. It's We Live as Kings. We Live as Kings. It is the former group from Collision Records with Swoop, Dre Murray, Christian Grey, and Alex Faith. Again, another just phenomenal collection of artists. They all had their specialty. They all had their sound. They all did their respective things on the album that they released together. And then they all had independent albums as well. And they would feature on each other's projects. And then Alex and Dre did a project together. They did some minor tours together. But this group in general, man, they just, like, Christian Gray's vocals, that's one thing that he kind of complained about later on, was that he didn't get to rap as much as he wanted to, because Christian Grey is a rapper as well as a singer. But he's a phenomenal singer. He hit those high notes, and just phenomenal album, man. Dre Murray, he's a vet in the game. He's been rapping for a long time. You can just hear his control of each record. Swoop, being the lyricist that he is, it's just when you hear the way he puts words together, it just makes me go, that was why. That was smart. That was intelligent. And then Alex Faith, he's got that Southern style in there that just made me feel like I was at home when listening to him rap on it. And when they broke up, man, it really kind of broke my heart a little bit. I can't remember which one left first, but I do know that later Corey Paul became a part of that just for a brief period of time, but then he left the label as well. Now the label doesn't exist anymore. They've all kind of gone their respective ways. But the album that they put out, if you don't have it, if you haven't heard it, you need to go check it out. A couple of the songs on there got some radio syndication. They got some TV spots, and especially the one that Swoop did. I think it was King of Me. It was on I think it was on like a NBA playoffs kind of a situation. But either way, phenomenal album. Great collaboration there. And I really enjoyed every single song on that one project they did. So yeah, man, that is it for us. This is our round 5 missed musical acts, groups, whatever you want to call it. We'll be back with the honorable mentions real quick.
Mentions, yeah. Well, I have a few. I've got some secular stuff. Spice Girls. I miss you, Spice Girl. No, totally kidding. I'm not sure I've ever heard anything by them. The Beatles, the Eagles, mostly because there are people that are dead in these, so they can't do anything anymore. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Christian bands, Deluxe Tone Rockets. Sort of a rockabilly kind of sound. A lot of fun. DC Talk. Why is Shawn missing DC Talk? Actually, I like their dynamic. And I think that is short of Toby Mac. The other two guys just haven't had much of a career since then. A band called The Swift, previously known as Puddle Glum. Um, really good worship music. Had this like mellow kind of pop feel to it, slightly folky.
I thought that was Taylor Swift there for a second. Sorry,
No,
man.
definitely not Taylor Swift. The Swift. Postmortem, metal band. First metal band that I'd ever seen an electric violin being played. So just saying,
That's
okay.
dope. That's dope.
Um, and my very first Christian concert I ever went to was by the band Petra. Now they've done some music that's kind of like yeah, whatever. But I especially love their older stuff. It's got that classic rock kind of feel to it. So maybe mostly just nostalgic.
Gotcha. So one of mine's Christian and one of mine's secular. The Christian band is actually a band that I got introduced through because of you. The very first time we ever hung out, you took me to go see a band called Death Proof. They were playing in the midst of a
I
bunch of
didn't do
other.
that.
You didn't do that? What band did
No,
we
that
go
wasn't
see?
me. No. I wasn't there. You're thinking of somebody else.
Okay. Either way, there was a band called Death Proof that a guy that I would call a friend took me to many years ago, many moons ago. And it was a great band. They did a phenomenal job. It was in a little pub in the middle of a little small, tiny place. And there was a bunch of other. There were some Satanist bands there. I'll just say that. And at least they appeared to be somewhat Satan. They were definitely anti Christian. And but this band still went. They rocked out. They had a just phenomenal set. They fit the theme of the show. It was like a Halloween type of a thing. So they had like Freddy Krueger outfits and Jason and all sorts of stuff. And they had a little EP that I got. It was only 4 tracks, but I lost the EP down the road, and then the band officially broke up. Back whenever I think it was on Facebook. They said they officially broke up, but I really enjoy their music. And then the last one for me is Linkin Park. R.I.P. to I forgot his name, the lead singer of the band, but their first projects were they were game changers. The new metal alternative rock stuff that they did, Meteora and Hybrid Theory, they kind of really changed the game for music at that time. And those projects to me are still very repeatable. I never listened to it just one time through. I had to listen to it about 4 times through to kind of fill that Linkin Park cup, that quota that I have, a few times a year. So I definitely miss what they did at that time in their careers. So that's it for. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I remember when Hybrid Theory came out. I actually introduced it to my brother. I was like, dude, you've got to check out this album. I don't even know how I came across it. I'm sure I had probably heard in the end somewhere, but they really hadn't even broke out just yet. And I remember telling my brother, I was like, dude, you got to check these guys out, man. They're doing something different. This is really awesome. And they're going to explode. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And I remember him coming back to me later. He was just like, dude, you were so right, man. Linkin Park is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chester
I'm not
Bennington.
that in touch anymore, but what else? So, but yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, Chester Bennington was the artist who is not with us anymore. And then Mike Shinoda, he tried to do a little bit of hip hop on his own. Didn't really. He had a hit, but it didn't take off too well. But yeah, man, I missed that band. So that's it for our round of 5 Miss Musical Groups. We'll be back with another segments soon. Please stay tuned.